What's happening, everybody? We're back. It's me, resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington.
And I'm the swaggy blerd, Winston A. Marshall.
And we are here to talk Season 2, Episode 6 of Doom Patrol in the DC Universe and HBO Max. And if you ain't seen this episode yet, come on back because it's going to be spoilers. Thank you for everybody who rocked with us with the live edition we did for Episode 5, man. We wanted this. Our schedules didn't line up. There was so much busyness. Winston's out here being a superstar. And so
working on it.
I mean, you're clearly doing it. And so the only way we were able to get it done was to do it live. But thank you, everybody who said they love the live format. We are hoping to be able to potentially do it again. We don't know. It can't be a guaranteed set in stone thing as of yet.
Just because the episodes drop on Thursdays. And so it's just a matter. If it was something that we could just do it live whenever, then we probably would do that more often. But if it has to be then it just becomes a little tricky. So, but I'm trying to set time aside on Thursdays to do that. This week has to go back to our original format, but we'll see about the few episodes after that.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We'll see about that. But man, listen.
Hello. Wait. We'll if you're curious what that's about, you need to watch Blurs in the Hood because we're gonna talk about it next Tuesday. But I just realized we need to add that as one of our memes in the show.
That's going to be guaranteed. That's a guaranteed ad. So
we have to do it.
I wanted to start off by talking about this. I give Diane Guerrero a bunch of props and praise for the show, which always is going to happen. But Abigail Shapiro as Dorothy,
She's killing it.
The fact she was looking, she knew it was that whole I fucked up face. When she looking and you got Jane with the wax all over her face after after what happened, after having what was it, Flaming Mary?
Yeah.
And Baby Doll murdered in the underground. And there's so much. She's like that. And then she's sitting there like, oh shit. And in the underground, they so what do we do? Because even Jane as the personality is like, wait, this is a construct.
Yeah, we don't know if they're dead, which was my question at the end of the last episode. I was like, are we sure that they died? They're the personalities. I'm not, the only time we ever saw this is when a personality committed suicide. By jumping into the well. We've never seen one of these actually die. So it was interesting.
It's weird also because it goes later into the episode. I know we're going to jump around. I'm not going to do this bit by bit thing. I can't because it's too much. It jumps around, but the fact when we get to the well later, if you listen to how Hammerhead and the rest of them talk, he's down there. So her father, the memory of her father must be in the well.
Yeah.
Which, again, it kind of confuses me in a sense because to kill yourself, you just go deal with him.
I think what it is you're going to the deep recesses of the mind. It's not necessarily that you're going to deal with him. I think it's more that's where they keep him because it's that super deep recesses. And remember, he was already. If I go back to that season 1 episode when Cliff was in there. He was floating around near the well anyway, and then Jane and him and Cliff beat his ass, and instead of him dying, he just went down into the well. And so I think that's the thing, and that's true, is that I don't know about you. I mean, I know you have. I mean, we've all had trauma. No matter how much therapy you go to, no matter how much you've talked it out and worked it out, you can learn to cope with it, but you can never undo said trauma. It's a permanent scar. It's just you can get to a point where it doesn't affect you to the same level as it did when it first happened. You know what I mean? Right. And I think that's kind of what this is a symbolism for, is that he's not going anywhere, but we have him under control.
Which also, because it was weird. Well, not weird, because again, this show is weird in itself.
I mean, yes.
You have Jane talking to Hammerhead, talking about, Baby Doll dying really affects them as a whole because Baby Doll's the only one that trusts men.
Baby Doll trusts men?
No, she does.
I didn't think that she did.
She said it, Jane. She was like, Baby Doll was the only one that trusts men. And so now you have that part of her gone.
Right.
And she lives in a house with 3 other dudes.
What? Cliff, Larry, and the Chief. Yeah,
and
Cyborg 4.
Yeah, and Cyborg. So it's like, how will?
I guess Jane trusts them.
I think because Jane trusts them. Yeah,
because she trusts everybody in the house at this point. She didn't for a while. She was very much go fuck yourself, but like her relationship that she developed with Cliff, she doesn't really trust the Chief right now. Nobody really fucks with the Chief right now. But yeah. Which I also find funny with this season, how all of last season is we gotta save him. He's the man, like fuck, like we gotta get him back. And now everybody's like, man, fuck this nigga.
Well, I mean, you would find you'd be fuck this nigga too if you found out the reason your life is shit is because of him.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Think about it. He made it seem like he's your savior.
Yeah.
But this whole time he's been your savior. Yeah. He's been the person that's helped you to bring you out of your situation and give you a second chance, if you will. And then you find out the only reason your shit is like it is because of him.
I mean, you're not wrong, bro. Like I agree with you there. It's just very interesting to me how that has all flipped. But I guess that's part of what, again, we've discussed about the show in general, and what the showrunner said about the show in his interview was the fact that like this is about generational trauma. Mm-hmm. And it is about the effect that our parents have on us, that we have on our kids. And that's the thing. In a certain way, the birth of them as superheroes comes from the Chief. He is essentially their superhero father.
Right.
So this is about that trauma too, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's the best way to really describe it, if you will. I've been going back to Dorothy. She didn't rant. So the dope part is these motherfuckers come from space in the most 1950-ish space suits and spaceship ever, right? The Chief came out the window.
Yeah, what to tell them I'm not here?
No, he's straight treated like Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm not here.
What I find it hilarious that Specs and what's the other one's name?
Zip.
Specs and Zip was like, I'm the braids. Hey, you little rascal. And they're running around slapping each other's ass.
So before we found out exactly what the deal was with them, I was like, oh, they're gay too.
I thought for a second because when it was described when they left for space, I thought, because I was like, why are they so young if he sent them into space 60 plus years ago? I was like, there's obviously some sort of space thing that's happening. Maybe the Chief invented some more like immortal shit, but I thought they were some weird throuple at this point. And then I kind of realized these two were just it's just them and she's just around.
And she's annoyed because you can look at it. She was just like, ugh. It wasn't the fact of, it wasn't what they were doing. It was the fact it was continuous. It was nonstop. It just kept on happening. And so you have that. The Chief is sitting there like, look, we got to find Dorothy. Go and look into the basement. See, Dorothy left a note. I'm leaving. Like she said, I'm leaving. They took their spaceship and took the fuck off.
Bro, the fact that she straight up jacked a spaceship.
Hey, man.
She just said, man, fuck this shit, I'm out. And then she went and grabbed the spaceship.
Hey, man, check this out, bro. Let me tell you something. If you feel like you got to go, nigga, you got to go.
Like, real talk, she reminds me of that little boy talking about, I just want to do hood rat shit with my friends. Like, literally, I want to go do hood rat shit with my imaginary friends. And got the spaceship and took the fuck off.
So this is something that was scary, too, real quick. Because she takes out space. We don't know if she's on the moon or wherever. The fact that the candle maker is walking with her and leaving footprints, nigga. Like,
bro. And the fact that all of a sudden, and she mentions it, she's like, why are you speaking like a grown-up? And he's like, as you grow, I grow. And I'm like, oh, nigga.
Well, also, I think that is something somebody said in the comments on last week's episode, and people have been saying, the more wishes she makes, the stronger he gets. Mm-hmm. And so that's why he's leaving, like, because normally it's just in her head.
Yeah.
But he's, like I said, there's feet, there's prints. But Dorothy go in space. You got the Chief take Cliff, like, come on, man, and keep this apple. Like, it's always weird with the Chief because he'll have this one little bitty thing that you'd be like, what's the point of this? And he got an apple. At the same time, Rita done got a call back. She to get ready to go do the play. And when she found out what the play is, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I was hurt. I was like, oh, especially old girl who was like, I'm playing the blob woman.
She was like, because she's like, oh, because I remember they're handing out the script. She's like, I don't need the script. I memorized, like, come on, the play's been written.
She's like, I know our town. She was like, it's not our town, it's our
town. What are you talking about? And then it's like, oh yeah, everything that happened, and I'm playing the blob woman. She was like, bro, the post rehearsal conversation that she had.
Blob woman in.
Yeah, it's like, I just, no, I'm not trying to give you a line reading or anything. I'm just thinking that maybe, instead of her being a monster, maybe she's more human. And she's just like, oh, is that not how I played it? Because I was trying to do it like, like she is trying to be human. And it's like something from her dad, her mom. Oh, yeah, that's a better one anyway. It's always the mom. But yeah, with the mom and, she's just trying to fight it. But the truth is, she's just a disgusting monster that's just going to explode and eat everything in the town because that's what she was meant to do.
She's unlovable. She's unlovable. She's unfuckable. I was like, oh,
unlovable, unfuckable. And Rita's just like, bitch, like trying so hard not to blob out, just like, I'm gonna fucking.
That shows she has more control, because normally in that situation, half her face would have melted by now, like, or she'd have had cankles, like one of the two.
You're wrong for that, but that's true. That is one of her telltale signs that she's losing control. But right. I think you're right. I think that's the thing that we've come to terms with, is that she has control of her standard human looking form. She just hasn't quite mastered how to then use her powers while remaining in said form. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's true. So you deal with that, and then you got Vic, who out here laid up with Ronnie. First of all, Karen Abalam is bad. She is amazing. That is God's gift and a sister. Let me tell you something. There's nothing wrong with the sister.
Which I have to say, seeing Vic, it was cool to know. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit in his story arc. It was cool to know that Silas is alive. I definitely thought he beat Silas's ass to death.
Well, remember, so here's the thing. When they went jogging, when Cliff was trying to talk to him about having him do the stuff, I was like, wait, didn't he beat the dog shit out of him?
Beat the shit out of his dad. He beat the shit out of his dad, bro.
And so Flex Mentallo told him, no, he didn't beat him to death. He's alive. He's convalescent. So he's had all his time to heal up.
All right.
Flex tells him in season 1 that he's not dead. He's alive, barely. But the fact that you see him with Ronnie and they like really getting along, and he hit off with Rick. Yo, let me scan you. Let me look inside you. She was like,
it's like, no, but for real. She's like, fine, let me see inside you, motherfucker. And
she was like, you need to tell all your PTSD that you were afraid to tell in group.
Which is funny because he starts telling them stories. He's like, well, this one time we were inside a donkey, then this other time I met a cult that tried to destroy the world, and then a cult that came to save the world. And I had, this one time I was fighting this giant roach, and then there was this rat, and she was like, look at that crazy bullshit you making up, son.
He was like, no, I've actually tamed it. He was like, I actually tamed it down for you, because the thing is, if you tell somebody all that's happening, it would. But the fact he was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'll tell you. And she was like, yeah, you'll do that thing you do. I'm like, go ahead, Vic. Go get your swerve on. Like, but the fact that he scans. So here's the best part. He scans it and he sees that there's some level of tech in her. He was like, yo, can I go ahead and get your military file? Which, again, the nigga can just get whatever he wants, whatever.
Which is funny. She was like, don't be out here hacking the military. Oop, done. Whoops.
So let me show you.
But then he was like, he was like out here being like, oh shit, like you're getting poisoned. And she's like, yeah, nigga, I know. I told you I'm probably not gonna be around and shit.
She's like, I'm not really paying my student loans.
Yeah. So then he called his pops and was like, yo, pops, like,
well, that's after he realizes that's
Star Labs. Yeah. He was
through her file that is Star Labs and Calder Robotics.
Right.
And so
called up his dad, was like, yo, can you help me figure this out? And he's like, son, I'm not just gonna hack some shit for you just so you can figure it out. What's the reason? He's like, it's for a girl. He's like, nigga, for a girl, I will slap the taste out your mouth. I swear to God, you out here trying to ask your daddy to put his life on the line for some old girl.
It sounded like he was like, young love is so beautiful. Like he kind of gave him his blessing in a sense, if you listen to it. At
first, he did that shit that black fathers do. He's like, little nigga for some ass.
Some ass?
The first thing he said, that he was like, okay.
Then you got to have that finger though. You can't do it without the finger, but like, for some ass? Okay. That finger come up like that.
Right. And it's not just the figures, it's the mouth turn the all right. But all of this is happening, and I think what's so interesting here is that Larry, I do not remember the Russian woman's name.
Just called her Moscow.
Moscow. So Moscow is just like Larry in that she has retained some radiation and has her own negative spirit.
When he shook her hand, the nigga was like,
they both blew, and he was like, "What the fuck? You have a negative spirit?" It's like, well, sure, but I don't refer to it as a negative spirit. We're a we. It's not me and it. It's us.
And then he was like, well, how long did it take you all to get together? She was like, 5 years. He was like, this is the face I could expect it under all the bandages, like this look. It's like, what? 5 years.
I mean, you're gonna hate me because I know we're not supposed to change the thing, but I kind of need to for my example here. So, you put this all on the same. You put that was smart. That was actually okay, cool. So then say it again, 5 years.
Like, 5 years.
Nigga.
Yeah. I've been in this motherfucker 60-something years, and we just got along 18 months ago.
Yeah, and what's so funny about that too, but I don't even think that means, but that was from the level of now I'm actively practicing for the two of us to be one. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think that includes what he's been doing so far, because he was like, the negative spirit's been like showing. The only reason I knew my son killed himself about me is because of the negative spirit and shit. And he was like, she goes, well, I'm pretty sure that maybe the spirit's trying to show you, like trying to help you deal with your trauma. But that's just,
you keep cutting it off.
That's just our guess. I don't know what to tell you. So
I forgot to mention about the apple that Niles had Cliff hold. The apple was for fuel for the second spaceship to go chase after Dorothy. Now you're like, okay, what is an apple going to power up? A magical goat head. Goddamn it.
I swear to God, the chief is a sick son of a bitch. He's like cutting goat heads off and making people blob monsters.
It's like he's part of the occult.
Yeah.
But he's always. But remember, he is though.
He is though. Yeah,
because he said his ship was science with a bit of magic.
But that's him though. He essentially is Dr. Doom if you think about it, in a wheelchair. Like my nigga straight up, he fucks with tech and magic. Like he had the amulet that was keeping him alive and shit.
No, he's Dr. Doom without a budget.
Ooh. I mean, yeah, because Doom runs an entire fucking country.
Think about it. Look at Cliff Steele. Plain and simple.
That is a ghetto solution. That where ghetto problems require ghetto solutions.
And so it's like,
so Cliff and the chief get out to what we're assuming is the moon. He goes and finds Dorothy. He's like,
hold that thought. Did you pay attention to when he was walking? What you saw? What you see?
Maybe not as much as I should have. What happened?
You see all the crystals and everything, right? You need to watch it again. There is a crystal shaped like a dick.
You think this is just more allusion to the sex ghosts? Like the sex ghosts go to the moon and shit?
There's literally a crystal with a dick. That's a dick. It's literally just thrown in there.
Why are you just looking for dicks? Is it a symbolism of something?
No. First of all, let's not do that because everybody know I'm straight.
No, not for you. I'm saying, is there a symbolism in the show? Otherwise, why are you just looking for penis?
Well, remember, this show is weird.
I mean, yeah. But that's what I'm saying. Is there something related to Doom Patrol? Is this something that we just don't know about? We just wanted to do it. Okay. I didn't know if there was something there. That's why I was asking.
Crystal dick on the moon.
Hey, man. But we get there. Dorothy's making a grave for her imaginary friend that got killed. For Manny that got killed by Baby Doll. But she's also like, and I'm just going to stay here for the rest of my life because I'm a terrible person. He's like, I don't really think that's how oxygen works, but sure.
No, he's the worst parental advice ever. But then he actually gives good advice.
But that's what I was going to say. What's so funny about it, he's an asshole, but he's actually kind of a good father figure if you can get past the sarcasm. Because think about what he did for Jane and going into the underground and helping her sort enough out because Jane had really kind of locked herself away.
Well,
you know
remember,
what I mean?
That to Niles, he was like, "Yo, I don't give a fuck about your daughter in space. I would rather sit by idly doing nothing by Jane's side." And which, like I said, it does speak volumes. It's just the asshole is one part, and then you forget because you kind of get past the asshole. You know what I'm saying? Once you can get past the asshole, it gets its layers behind it.
Right.
And yeah, so, but Niles also realized he really tells Cliff, like, "Yo, you don't get it. I locked her away, and she made these imaginary creatures, which were cool at first, but these motherfuckers are powerful."
Yeah, and the fact that what he even said, he's like, "Are you sure about this? Like, is she really that powerful?" He goes, "If this motherfucker talking about this one particular imaginary friend gets enough power." Yeah, talking about the candle maker. We didn't say the candle maker. He goes, "If this motherfucker gets enough power, he could cleave the earth in half, no problem." So yes,
well, that's because he knew what it was. When Cliff brought up Jane from the basement and he saw that wax, he was like, so the eyes went like that Felix the cat. So where's Dorothy? Like, because he knew it. Cliff doesn't understand. Cliff like, fuck Dorothy, yo, Jane. And so you're dealing with all this, and then you get Rita. You go back to Rita, who's still trying to be like, all right, so how we gonna do? Because he's still dealing with that shit. Larry, you find out with Larry that Zip and Specs, these motherfuckers are really just dead. It's just alien spores.
They're alien spores that literally have them on autopilot. So whatever their kind of base personality was, they just keep running the same thing over and over, which is, I'm Zip, I'm Spec, I'm the brains. Hey, rascal, slap that ass. And then they go off and chase each other. So so Moscow goes, yeah, I brought him back to Earth because I thought that maybe the atmosphere might kill the spores, and I think it's happening because all of a sudden you see a shallow grave they dug for him, and they're in there talking about I'm which is sad, man. It's sad to see them go out, but it's kind of an interesting. I mean, it falls obviously in line with how shit happens in this world.
I'll tell you what's more sad. The fact they didn't cover him up, they just left him
die. Yeah, well, I mean, let him die and then bury him. You know what I'm saying?
They were dead.
But I'm saying let the spores die. Like let the batteries run out and then you cover them.
Remember, Larry was like, "Do you got anything else you want to say before they go?" He was like, "Yeah, if any fruit grows from here, don't eat it." So like, any fruit grow from this spot, don't eat it.
Jesus Christ, man. All right, well, I mean, that's pretty much everything. The last thing that happens, though, and this is fucking wild, is that eventually Cliff convinces Dorothy to come back.
We didn't talk about.
Well, what's the other one?
The Dorothy thing. You do that one.
Well, that was the last thing that happened. So say the other thing you were going to say.
The other thing we didn't talk about, because that's not the last. Well, that's the thing before it. Whereas in the underground, they're doing the funeral for Baby Doll.
Yes, but that was the very last thing is what happens in the spaceship. But
yeah.
You got the underground. Go ahead.
So the thing, they're about to take them to the underground, and there's been a vote.
The well. They're about to throw them into the well.
There's a vote to basically have a funeral, and they're going to bury them in the well. And again, Jane, the whole time, like we said earlier, been like, "Yo, we don't know if they die. Like, yo, personalities fade out and come back. Like, yo, we don't know how this works." So right when they about to drop the bodies, Jane was like, fuck no. Y'all not gonna do that. I'm primary. This shit ain't finna happen. You know what I'm saying? We're not finna have him chuck down the well. We don't know what happens when you go down there and out comes another son. First of all, out comes to figure out the well. Was like, you know so much about the well, but never been down there. And everybody was like, Miranda? And let me tell you how happy I was that her Miranda is a black woman. I was like, because it's not unknown for Jane's one of her personalities to be black. I think the digger, the driller, something like that.
Yeah,
is a black woman. But the Miranda, the sassy one, the one that was like that told her mama, I
thought the same thing. The mama was like, "Look, bitch, I'm right here. So if you ever try this shit again, not only will everybody know about the shit that you let happen, I will kill you.
Bitch, I'll kill you." And to see that Miranda, because again, when we see Miranda take over Jane at the time, we just see the outer shell, the girl, the preteen girl. To see that Miranda is developed as a black woman, I was like, well, that makes a lot of goddamn sense.
But what Miranda tells us, because then they're like, no, you need to throw him in the well because because everyone's confused. Like, Miranda, didn't you kill yourself down the well? It's like, yes, I died, but then I came back, and the same thing will happen to them. So throw them in. And so that's what ends up happening. And when they go in, you hear 2 explosions happen. They go, what the hell? And they go, that was their stations. It's not like they're going to need them much anymore. And then she goes, and now you need to turn over primary to me. And Jane is kind of crying, but she also was like, well,
because she said, because Jane, she was like, you think you know what the girl wants.
I'm the only one that does.
Right.
Because he was down in the well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Release primary to me and I'll show you. And so it also plays, and I know we're going all over. It plays to something that Cliff was talking about earlier, because he was like, so Dorothy's imaginary friends killed Jane's imaginary personalities. Do we need to have an imaginary intervention? And she was like, yo, let me tell you something. A fractured mind is nothing to play with. He was like, Jane may never be the same again. Because again, all 64 personalities, well, now 62 are, play a role. Well, was it still 64?
It would be 63.
It'd have been 63
because Miranda's alive.
But now she's 60. Yeah,
so she technically had 65. Unless Miranda counts as a 64.
That's what I think.
There were 63.
Miranda
counts as 64, then they're back up to 62.
62. So because it's like, he was like, but yeah, even though that small part, it might fracture. And like, again, when Miranda takes over, the wax is on Jane's face, and she's just, the body is crying.
Well, that's because Jane is crying. Jane is still, even though she's in the underground talking to them, she's still the primary at the time. Right. And you notice as soon as clearly Miranda took over, not only did all the wax disappear, tears are gone, and it's just like a. So
this is what this is.
So this is where we at now, huh? And then finally, the last part, we're on the spaceship. Cliff gets Dorothy back on the ship. He's having a heart-to-heart with the chief. And he's like, yeah, all right, I get it. Like, it's not that bad and stuff. And he goes, if you might remember what the chief says to him right before, but he essentially says something along the lines of like, don't worry, this won't ever happen again. And then the chief says, doop, doop. And then all of a sudden,
no, the chief, he says, look, go ahead and make sure Dorothy's helmet is secure for reentry. So Cliff does that to make sure she's good. And he was like, you know what? I promise this will never happen again. Because now Cliff's on the other side. And he hit that young airlock. And
did you say that young airlock?
Young airlock, nigga. Hits that young airlock. Cliff's sitting around like, what the fuck?
And it just launched this nigga into space. That's, dude, Cliff out here like,
what the fuck is going on?
As he's tumbling into space, bro. Like, and that's the last image we see. And I'm like, yo, this nigga is evil. I swear to God, the chief is evil, which only makes me think, and I hope Mr. Nobody gets to make a comeback this season. Maybe Mr. Nobody ain't that bad after all, dude. Like,
so I've had the pleasure of looking at episode 7 already. I'll tell you when we stop recording.
Don't tell me anything. I'm just gonna watch it.
Okay, I won't tell you anything.
Yeah, don't tell me shit.
But I think that's overall. That's the entire episode, man. So we want to know what you thought about this episode of Doom Patrol in the comments below. Make sure you're liking this video as well, sharing and subscribing to the channel. Please subscribe. Click on the notification bell so you can find out exactly when these drop every Thursday around the same time-ish. And you can check it out, all right? You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MRJAY. You should really know I spell Washington by now. Thank you. Really should. Make sure you join my Patreon, Supervillain Squad on Patreon, patreon.com/. Listen, it's been a long day. It's been a long goddamn day. Patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. Check out the one-on-one with the Supervillains here. And check out that the Mad Titan podcast. Everywhere you get podcasts from, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. I get you caught up on all things happening in Marvel and DC live action cinematic universes. Blerd's in the Hood on Tuesday with him. Game Time on Monday with him and Roka, and that's it. That's all I got. Yeah, I got to do that.
Yeah, no, the swaggy blerd, THESWAGGYBLERD. I think I spelled that right. I'm just making sure I said it kind of fast, but either way,
about me, you realize you like. I think I.
Yeah, he already said the collective stuff that we do together. I'm on SCN Live twice a week. It just depends on the day. I do Positive Black People News that drop that Thursday mornings. It's like last week tonight with positive news stories about Black people. Thursday afternoon, I do something called Swag Back Thursdays. I play a retro game. I give you a mixtape that when the year the game came out for you to have, and then we play the game together. Sundays, I do also on my Twitch channel. I'm sorry, both of those are on Twitch. I call it Swag Day Fun Day. everybody brings a drink and we play Jackbox. I play with the fans. So it's something you can do. And then join my Patreon, patreon.com/theswaggyblerd. My patrons, both A, get priority on Swag Day Fun Day in order to play, but also B, excuse me, that was foul. B, my top 2 tiers can join my writer's room for positive Black people news. So if you've ever been interested in writing from a journalistic or just a writer's room standpoint, that's something that actually gives you an opportunity to do that. That pretty much covers everything. We didn't do we didn't rate the episode. I had to. I'd probably give it a 4.3. It's a good episode, but I feel it almost feels a little bit like filler to me. Personally, I there was some stuff I enjoyed for sure, but I didn't enjoy it as much as, like, say, the Sex Ghost episode, because any Danny Street episodes when all the Danizens come out, I fucking love that shit. And then the episode we just watched, what the Finger Patrol, I mean, what kept it at a 4.5 was Stone and Steel. That shit killed me. I didn't really have a moment like that this episode. I found the Underground's grieving process super interesting, but for me, little bit of a step back, but I'm hoping next episode picks it back up.
For me, I didn't care much about the space patrol. It was all the astronauts, the 3 of them were only used to further push the story of one-on-one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You just really needed Moscow and Larry to have the conversation and the understanding about the negative spirit. Read a story about her trying to prove that she's an actor. Vic's going further along in his relationship. The Cliff Jane Chief Dorothy saga is good. You know what I'm saying? So again, it had its points, it had its highs and lows for me. Like I said, I'm about at a 4.5, a little bit lower, a little 4.1-ish with that one. So like
that's a huge difference between 4.5 and 4.1, bro. Like, let's be real.
It's been a long day. After this, all right.
Which is also very funny because you know what you actually said if you took the 2 of those, added them up, and averaged them out. 4.3, you stupid son of a bitch. I love you. And with that, y'all, we will be back next week with episode 7 of Doom Patrol. Take care. We out here. Deuces.
Bye, guys. I'll remember next time for ratings.